Hello again everybody, and welcome back to test flight in the F-86 Sabre. And now it's time to press on, do the taxi, takeoff, climb out, and some en route navigation out to the airfield that we have selected as our destination for this mission. And you may be wondering why I always seem to start at the beginning. I don't like to jump into procedures just in the middle of it. And it's all about building habit patterns and picturing where the procedures are in the overall context of a mission. Because the ultimate goal of all of this is to set yourself up to be able to fly a campaign or a single mission from beginning to end and understand fully what's going on during the whole thing. Because if you don't understand what's going on and are just unsure of what you're supposed to be doing and what phase of the mission you're in, well, I think you're really missing out on an enjoyable part of what flight simming is all about. And that's why building habit patterns from the very beginning and not skipping forward to your favorite part, making sure that you understand why you're getting to your favorite part. It may not always be as fun if that's what you're looking for right off the bat, but in the end it will be, I think, more rewarding, or at least it is for me. But as always, yeah, do whatever makes you feel happy and whatever you enjoy with this. There's no right or wrong way to do it. So let's go ahead and jump into the cockpit. I'm ready to taxi. Let's go ahead and get this thing going because I'm burning fuel. Safety pins removed, gear chocks removed, engines advanced, and nozzle steering, turn slip, radio compass, direction indicator, got it. So let me start the checklist and we'll go ahead and call for clearance, taxi out to the runway, and we will get going. So let me see here. Okay, main ATC, Colkey, request taxi.
Colkey, in field 1-1, request taxi to runway.
Okay, clear to taxi runway 9, that's right out here in front of me. So let me go ahead and, okay, I've got my toe brakes held, I've got my nose wheel steering engaged. Let me go ahead and advance. Throttles, just enough to get me moving. Do a quick check of the brakes, okay, good brakes. Let's taxi on out. Okay, I'll just bring it over here to the right. Okay, let her stabilize. And you want to keep the nose wheel steering button held. By default, it's the S key. I have it mapped to my stick though. Okay, continue out here. Okay, thank you very much. Clear for takeoff. And what I did there was I just centered up on more or less the center line and continued to roll forward so that it would align my nose wheel, so I don't have to worry so much about nose wheel alignment as I go. Okay, so now I'm going to go landing light on, and I'm going to pull my checklist back up and go through the before takeoff switch checks. Okay, verify. Armor switch is on. Trims for takeoff, so let me do my quick takeoff trim. Okay, got it. Rudder I'm going to take is good. And flaps down. Another switch that I wish worked the opposite of the way that it does with mouse clicks, but okay, flaps are coming down, and once I get into the air, I will actually no, I can verify these from the cockpit. Okay, flaps are down. I'm going to leave it in the down position simply because it doesn't tell me to put it back to the hold. It is very, very specific that when you're in the air, that once you have it in position, that you return the lever to hold, but I'm going to take that as normal operation for now until I can scope out something that tells me otherwise. Okay, now let me do my emergency fuel check. Let me run them up to 80%. Okay, 80%. Emergency fuel on. Can we cautiously advance to full? And what I'm doing here, read a little bit more on this. I wish I had the chart in front of me, but there's a chart that you use to determine the RPM that you should have based on the outside ambient total air temperature. So if we're right here at sea level and at the temperature that I believe we're at, about anywhere from 98 to 100% is what I'm expecting. So yeah, I've got 100% RPM on my emergency fuel switch, good to go. Switch off. I'll verify the normal system kicks back in and stabilizes at 100%. Go on and off again. And that's my emergency fuels check. Okay, now engine instruments, okay, still looking good. Okay, EGT, oil pressure's in the green, fuel flow is looking good. Okay, everything is just fine. Go ahead and close my canopy. Okay, then reading ahead to takeoff, throttle, toe brake release, maintain control. Okay, near level attitude, that's nose wheel off the ground. Assume takeoff when takeoff is assured. My speeds for that were 120, 120, 134. Okay, so I want nose wheel lift off at 120. I want to lift off at 134. So let me dish the checklist. Okay, let's do this. Okay, toe brakes. Release. Okay, directional control. Okay, just using nose wheel steering up till about 50 knots. Then I'll release it and just use the rudder for control. Okay, now I'm just on the rudder, and I'm just looking for 120 knots. I'll lift the nose off slightly. Okay, 100. Okay, 120, nose coming up. 130. I'm going to fly her off the ground, gear up. Okay, gear up and locked. Okay, let me trim nose down a little bit. That was a little bit more aggressive on the climb out than I thought I would be. And let me go ahead and go flaps up. Yeah, 150 knots. Yeah, I can do that at this speed. Okay, flaps up. Yep, nose down tendency. Maybe that's why the takeoff trim was where it was at. And I'll return this to a hold position. And I will resume navigation here. So let's see. I need to turn to the left and guide on my first NDB, which is going to be at 525 on my radio compass dial, although I am not currently getting anything on my radio compass, but I know generally where I need to go. Or better yet, I know specifically where I need to go, because I need to turn to 327, fly for 25 miles. Okay, how's my EGT doing? Let me pull it back just a touch, my throttle, just to keep my exhaust gas temperature in a reasonable level. I'll pull it back to about 95% throttle. Allow 2 to get airborne. Speaking of 2, let me go back to position 1 on my command radio set so I can hear 2. Okay, there we go. Okay, 327 for 25. So let me, yeah, that was direction from this airfield, so I need to take it down here a little bit and then turn over to the right. Okay, good trim for gentle climb at this point. That's all I want in order to get 2 back on the rejoin and continue navigation. Okay, so let me figure out why my ADF is not working. Let me turn this back up. KCW voice, loop, 525, I'm guiding, or I'm getting a signal. I'm just not getting any kind of direction indicator on my radio compass. No big deal, I can do this completely by data reckoning, or just by just by visual navigation. I'm a little bit worried on the back leg when I'm coming back. If this does not work out the way that I expect it to work, how that's going to react on the way back. Okay, I was expecting that to be right in front of me. Let me try to adjust the tuning just slightly. It's possible I just picked up on the wrong one. I think that was it. I think there was just one that is just a slightly higher frequency out there that was... I was getting confused with that one. Okay, so now that's good steering on that that NDB. And I neglected to calibrate my radio compass, so now I mean I can still work with this, but it's not going to give me like a heading that I'm actually. It's not going to be calibrated for the actual heading, which I don't necessarily need, but. As of right now, yeah, I'm flying directly at this thing. Okay, 2, how you doing? Don't see 2. Okay, yeah, 2's on the rejoin. I just couldn't really see him. Okay, and I'll just continue flying directly over this NDB. Once I'm overhead, I will turn right 019 degrees for 90 miles and guide on this next NDB. So I'm not going to record the entirety of this. You don't want to see me just doing navigation the entire time. So when interesting stuff happens, I'll start recording again. But for now, yeah, I'll see you in just a second. And it occurs to me as I'm listening to the tone come through, what I should have done there was identify the transmitter. And I could have done that easily by coming up here, and I can barely see it on this. This is why I didn't really think to do it this time. It's just so hard to get references for frequencies and navigation of this type in game. So I have a little Morse code dash right here, Morse code assigned to it that I can and should use to identify the nav aids before I trust that I'm guiding on the right one. And for now, I'm just continuing in the climb. I can see that my wingman has rejoined off my right wing. I can see that a little bit easier. I've got a different type of labels installed that gives me a little bit more of a contrast. And if you watch my F-15 bear trap campaign video series, you know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, it's just so hard to pick up aircraft sometimes specifically for air-to-air. I don't need labels and don't recommend labels for air-to-ground because, if anything, it's a little bit too easy to pick stuff up on the ground, but I think it might just be a little bit too hard. Not much, though, depending on how you do it, to pick stuff up in the air. But yeah, that does help me out a lot. I can just at a glance, like I should, be able to look back there and pick up my wingman. So I'm just continuing to fly direct to this NDB, and when I'm overhead the NDB, I should have this needle swing back around to the opposite and pointed in the opposite direction. At that point, I'll turn right and head towards the next leg of navigation that I have coming up. Okay, there we go. I am overhead this beacon, and at this point, I am going to turn right to... what was that heading that I wanted for this one? 019, and this is going to be for 90 miles on this leg. Okay, and apparently and that's very neat, as you directly overfly the beacon, you also have the audio cut out just a little bit and you get some static. Okay, but okay, I need to keep it coming around to the right just a little bit more, and that'll be 019 for 90, but what I do need to do is retune to 995 on my ADF dial. So I'm going to go ahead and select the correct band for 995. And let me tune to this guy. Possibly you. Okay, zero. Overshot that considerably, okay. This is where an autopilot would really come in handy, but no, this is enjoyable to fly manually. Let's see. That is not... And incidentally, what I should be doing here is identifying these beacons based on the Morse code signal that I have coming in over my headset. So that's what I need to do right now. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, it looks like it's a long, short, short, long. It's so hard to tell, and I guess I'm generally a positive person, but one beef that I generally do have is that it's too hard to get proper mission planning and proper navigation information while you're in the cockpit. I mean, I only have this because I brought it up myself, and especially with aircraft that doesn't do a whole lot of the navigation for you, it's very, very important that you be able to know where these NDBs are and what the frequency is and how to identify them, and there's just no good way to do this without going through a lot of pain yourself. Okay, you look to be a lot more reasonable. Let's see what you sound like. And yeah, I do believe there's a little bit of a bug with the sound coming through. I'm getting both the old and now the new Morse code signal coming through. Oh well, I will turn it back around to 019. I'll just continue to do this visually. I know that I'm going to be passing. I've got that peak out there to the right. That's the highest peak in the area. So I know that I need to bring it around a little bit to the right. And just keep that. I'll be able to know that, okay, once I'm to this little spot right down here in the foothills, I just need to continue 020 for about 45 more miles. And that'll put me right out there where I need to be. Because yeah, there's no way that's the correct NDB that I'm looking at right now. But let me continue the search, and if I do happen upon the right one, and I wish there was an easier way to do this and there was a better way to identify them, because right now it's just not working. And it is open beta, I'm not complaining. But yeah, I'll be right back if I figure this out. And just continuing some navigation, climbing up through, already through 34,000 feet. And passing over the some terrain out here. I'm into Russian territory. That's the mountain right here that you can see, the big terrain feature. So that means that I'm right about here. I'm heading at a heading of about 035. Let me bring it back around to the left a little bit. And 020 from here should still bring me up to my intended course. I still haven't been able to identify the NDB that I want, but no big deal. There are just so many NDVs out there that unless you really know exactly how to interpret the dial, I think that's a struggle as well. Okay, it's 850. Maybe I should put some thought into, okay, 850, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 ticks between, or 4 tick marks between 850 and 1300. What would each of these tick marks correspond to? I need a calculator, so I'll if I do scope that out and pull the calculator out, I'll let you know, but I'll continue navigation from here. And folks, it's time to take a break, and I'm going to put a break in the video here, so I'm going to come back next time with a descent approach landing at Mineralline Vodi, Minvodi, or MLV as I like to call it, and also do a little bit of exploration of the handling characteristics of the aircraft, I believe next video or maybe video after next. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.